What's your goals for 2020? Just basically just let them talk about
Yeah.
about those things. I try to keep my coffee appointments under 30 minutes, usually between 15 and 30 minutes just to get to know them because it's the building of the relationship after. It's the 12-week follow-up that really that nets you the results that you're looking for. It's kind of like dating, when you go on that first date, it's kind of awkward, and then the
Right.
more dates you go on, the better it is. In fact, I always leave my appointments, man. This has been a great first date. It actually went better than I thought. I can't wait to, go on the next date and the next date and the next date. And that's how I build my relationships.
Hey, 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 welcome to Loan Officer Growth, the podcast that helps loan officers grow their business, increase their success, and have more freedom. Hey, man, I have David Nguyen on the call. David, how are you?
I'm good, Richard. How's it going, man?
Oh, doing awesome, man. Doing awesome. So, David, how long have we known each other? Hadn't been a whole long time, right?
No, no. I think we're coming up on our 1 year anniversary here in the next 3 months or so, 2 or 3
Cool.
months.
Yeah, so cool. It's been awesome knowing you. I've learned a ton from you. It's cool. So why don't you start off? Just tell us about yourself, how you got started. I know you've pivoted your business about a year ago. So tell us about yourself.
Sure, sure. I got into the loan origination business in 2018, at the end of the year, like October 2018. I don't think I generated my first loan till like December of that year, but it's been a whirlwind since then. I mean, we've had record number of closes since then. When I started out back in 2018, I worked for a portfolio branch. So basically, we were just calling our portfolio leads. On any given day, we were servicing between 50 to 75,000 clients at any given day. And with that being said, our phone would ring 500 to 600 times a month, and basically all we were doing is picking up the phone and apping 2 to 3 deals on a daily basis uh until the feds dropped that bomb about a year and a half ago or 18 months ago, and it kind of changed the industry.
No, those were refis, right? You were doing.
Yeah, the majority of them
Okay,
were refis, correct.
cool. So what did you do last year that kind of changed things?
Well, we had a pivot, man. We went from, like I said, a portfolio branch to a retail branch last year. Um, it was kind of we had to change the way we did things. I mean, I'll be real frank with you. 50% of our team are no longer in this business because of what happened last year with the feds. It was, you either had to pivot and change what you were doing, or you had to quit. I mean,
Right.
literally, we had 50% of our staff quit or just no longer in the business. I think that's prevalent across the industry as a whole. I think what they say like 40 or 50% of the loan officers didn't renew their license in 2023, and it's about the same for realtors, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was really crazy. I mean, every industry has a cleansing. I think our industry just had to go through it. Um, but really, I mean, there was no business. You're talking about, Richard. Imagine someone walking into your world and saying, boom, literally almost overnight, that 97% of your leads are gone. What do you do?
Yeah.
And for us, it was a portfolio lead. I mean, I didn't have realtors. I didn't have anything like that. I didn't know what to do. Basically, someone came in overnight and said, I'm taking 97% of your leads. Now go. I sat there and didn't know what to do. I mean, it was, I tell people all the time, I think we all went through it last year, is, if it was just a point that you just didn't know what to do.
Yeah. So what did David do?
Oh, David pivoted. I remember going to my branch manager and saying, "Hey, we got to do something different. This is not just a monthly or daily. This is something that's affecting our industry overnight. We're not going to survive unless we change our model or our process." And he said, well, go figure it out. And so, there's a couple of coaching programs out there. One of them that a lot of our branches at our offices did was the core program. I actually looked into that, but to be honest with you, Richard, it just wasn't me. It's just I don't it just wasn't for me. The way they do things was just too militant for me. And
Right.
I ended up researching a lot of different programs online, and then one day I came across uh this company called the Marketing Animals. Actually it was off of their podcast, the loan officer, the was it the Breakfast Club or something like that? I can't even think of it, the podcast now, but it's still going on. I still listen to it. I think it's the Loan Officer Breakfast Club, and I just dialed in and started listening to it, and I'm like, it just made a lot of sense. Everything they were saying was just a connection. It was just, I think I spent 2 or 3 months just listening, and then I remember just saying, "What are you doing? You got to take action. You can sit here and listen all day long, and
Right.
I mean, it's like, how many times we listen to how to make $1 million, how to do this, but unless you have action behind it, you're doing nothing. And I remember just sitting there for, it seemed like 2 or 3 months anyways, and just saying, what are you doing? Um, so I just started implementing the best I can off of what they said. I remember going to Devin, my branch manager, and going, "Hey, I think I found it." And I got on a call, and then I got into the coaching program at the Marketing Animals, and then my trajectory just went up from there. I mean,
Right.
I literally went from and you know this, Richard, you were my coach there. I went from a 100% portfolio branch to now 100% retail. Literally in less than a year. I think I have 190 realtors that I've talked to, that I've had a coffee appointment with in my database. I mean, I went from, doing 5% to 10% purchase to now it's 95% purchase leads and
Right.
5% refis. So I've completely pivoted my business. And a lot of people look at last year, or the rate as a demon, or the devil that changed. I look at it as a blessing, because I would, if nothing has changed, I would still to this day be in that world of just picking up calls and making leads and stuff like that. But
Right.
because of what happened, I discovered Marketing Animals and the retail world, and it's changed my whole outlook in this industry. It's changed my outlook in my business, my perspective, and my future growth. Really, I mean, it's changed everything about the mortgage business for me.
So you've met with 190, did you say? 190
I
realtors.
I've met with 190 realtors
Okay.
as of, I want to say, really, we dabbled in July. I really didn't get going until around September was really when I
Right.
really dialed it in. But yeah, 190 realtors off of what we call post coffee, where I actually had a coffee appointment with them, and sat down and talked to them.
Okay. Tell me about how that goes. Like, how do you, number one, how do you get in front of that many agents? Number two, which could even be more important, how do you follow up with the agents? Like, how did you grow those relationships? How did you get the coffee appointments? What's your kind of secret sauce to that?
Well, I know I credit everything to the Marketing Animals. I tell people all the time, if you're looking for a program in this industry, a proven process that's outlined for you, call them Marketing Animals. They have it every day laid out for you. That you
Right.
do a very specific task every single day. When I wake up in the morning, it's not like, "Hey, what do I do today?" I do this. It's not like, "Hey, who do I call? What do I do?" Every single day is outlined for me. I do a very specific task every day. In fact, we've broken down now to where even our mornings are scripted, in call stars, and so forth. But if you follow the Market Animals, it all starts with what we call Thor's hammer, or Jim, or a new lead list, right? So basically, you're getting a list of what we call qualified agents. Our qualified agents consist of at a minimum of 8 buy sides. Obviously, if you're a listing agent, that doesn't help us because they can't send us any leads. So we quantify that by saying you have to do a minimum of 8 buy sides to even be on my list, and we kind of project that list into 3 categories. We call them tilapias, tunas, and whales. Based on the number of buy sides they do. A tilapia does 8 buy sides. A tuna does 12 to 24 buy sides, and a whale does 24 plus buy sides. And what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get a coffee appointment with them to try to get them to my network to where I can build a relationship. This business is based on relationships. So once you have a coffee appointment, then you basically call them for the next 12 weeks to see if you can't do some business together.
Nice, nice. So out of the 190, you have those in post coffee, and then you call them for 12 weeks. How many realtor relationships do you have right now that are sending you business?
Oh, I have probably 52 that have sent me at least one.
Nice.
But of those, on my Focus 40, I think I have 24.
Okay, okay. And your Focus 40, that's agents that are qualified, eight or more buy sides, and they're sending you
Correct.
business and
Correct.
or you've had closings
Right.
with them.
So it's not like because let's just say you're not a qualified agent and you don't do eight by. It doesn't mean I'm just going to dismiss you. I
Right,
just don't.
right.
I don't prioritize them. So am I still gonna network with them? Am I still gonna call them? Yes. But am I calling them every single week? No. They go into what I call a shadow focus 40, where I call them once a month, but I still email them and I still text them some stuff that the marketing animal teaches us to just be uh uh top of mind.
Top
One
of
of the
mind,
things
yeah.
our jobs is to do is connect and be top of mind with our agents.
Okay, okay, cool, cool. So your appointments, tell me how those go.
Whenever I meet with the realtors on the coffee appointments,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah,
you've gone on 190 realtor appointments. Tell us a little
yeah,
bit about how those flow. Like
yeah.
how does that work?
Yeah, so the marketing animal teaches a saying. It's called "We frog them." Frog stands for family, recreation, occupation, FROG, and
Goals.
goals. Yeah. So that's all we talk about. I don't come in and say, hey, you know what, you're a great realtor. This is all my products. This is all my services. I typically lead off with, hey, you know what? You have some really great reviews online. You've been all over our office as a realtor that we want to meet. We would love to network with you and see what you're doing out there to be so great. My personal coffee appointments usually start with, hey, thanks for taking 5 minutes out of your day to network with me. I can see why you're so successful. Hey, are these numbers right? Did you really do 8 buy sides or 10 buy sides and six in the last 12 months? And these reviews, they say that you're great. Tell me a little bit about it. I mean, and I just kind of, hey, how long you been in the business? What are you doing to be so successful when other realtors are failing? What's your goals for 2020? Just basically just let them talk about
Yeah.
about those things. I try to keep my coffee appointments under 30 minutes, usually between 15 and 30 minutes just to get to know them because it's the building of the relationship after. It's the 12-week follow-up that really that nets you the results that you're looking for. It's kind of like dating, when you go on that first date, it's kind of awkward, and then the
Right.
more dates you go on, the better it is. In fact, I always leave my appointments, man. This has been a great first date. It actually went better than I thought. I can't wait to, go on the next date and the next date and the next date. And that's how I build my relationships.
And then you follow up. That's the key, I think, because I think studies have shown that 78% of salespeople don't follow up past two times. So
Yeah.
it's like it's crazy. You're following up 12 weeks. That's everything, man. You're in the minority doing that.
Oh, definitely. And there's I have some great case studies. Like, the what do we always say? Um, the system is you're not testing the system. The
Oh yeah, the
system's testing
system's
us.
testing you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've had just this past week I had someone that's basically hung up on me twice, and was rude to me two other times, and then this last time, and we're on like week 9 or 10, and this last time, the nicest guy in the world, and goes, yeah, man, if I do have anything, I'm gonna send your way next week. Went from,
Wow.
again, I'll repeat myself. The last 4 weeks was two hangups and two being very rude to me on the phone. And then
But
on
you
the fifth
kept at it.
and then on my fifth week, I share the story all the time. I don't know if I wore him down or he realized I wasn't going anywhere or whatever. And
Consistency.
it completely changes his outcome. Just because they say no to us doesn't mean that they don't want they're saying no forever. Carl, our mentor, has a great saying. just because I don't want pie today doesn't mean I don't want pie tomorrow. So if they say,
Right.
oh, you know today, doesn't mean they're not going to tell you no tomorrow. Just be consistent in your message and keep asking. And I think one of the things that make me so successful, Richard, is I have a call to action on everything I do. There's a thing that we say in this business about getting in the friend zone. And I think very early on, I got stuck in that. I didn't know what to say or how to say it. And so, calling in, I think in the beginning, I was just calling in and just saying, hey, just checking in. How are you doing? Okay, great. Now my call to action is, hey, my team is here all week. If you need help with any of your borrowers, again, I'm being very specific in my action, right? I'm checking in, making sure they're asking them how they're doing, letting them know that I'm checking in. But then I have a call to action. The big thing is the call to action, because if you don't have a call to action, they friend zone you. Now you're just another, person that's calling them or whatever. So I always have a call to action every time I talk to a realtor. Every time I lead them, it's always, hey, my team's available all week long if you need help with any of your borrowers. Hey, do you need anybody to get pre-qualified this week? Hey, is there anybody I can help you with a new lead or a new deal or something like that? Um, and it's part of I call it part of the secret sauce that makes a difference. That
Yeah.
call to action is, I think, massively huge.
Yeah. It's something that unfortunately most loan officers don't do. They fall into that friend zone. And sometimes you think, well, they know I'm a loan officer. They know that I do loans. Of course they're gonna send me business, right? And if you don't ask, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, you got to ask. You really do, and then you'd be surprised how many times it was like, how many times I've said, "Hey," and then they go, "Oh yeah, I'm meeting with someone on Thursday. I'll drop your name out." But if I didn't ask, they wouldn't have said that.
Right. That's so awesome, man. So what is it that you love the most? What do you love doing day in, day out for as a loan officer?
Man, I love the deal, Richard. I think that's just as in sales, every time we get a deal on, it's like an injection of adrenaline.
Right.
I love that. It never gets old to me. I get excited about every deal that we get. The task of the day, I just like talking to people. I can talk to anybody. It doesn't bother me to make 50 to 100 phone calls and talk to new people and stuff like that. I feel like it's just an extension of a friend or whatever. And it's a service
Right.
that they need. They're either gonna use me or use someone else. So why not me? You know,
Yeah.
is the way I look at it. So but yeah, my favorite part of the day is the deal, is actually getting a deal in and being able to take it from, now we have an executed contract. Let's get to the closing table. Just and
Yeah.
again, I'm not even involved in that. As you know, Richard, I don't. I'm just a sizzle. I tell people all the time, I'm the marketing guy. I'm just here to be the face of the franchise. I have a great team behind me that does everything with the files once once
Right.
once we get to the finish line.
Nice. So what is a routine that you've done that's made a huge difference in you?
I think the biggest impact this year has been what we call call stars. We every morning between 9 and 11 o'clock, we block all exterior environmental stuff, and we just make our phone calls. There's something to be said because we're the information age, right?
Yeah.
We're technology built. There's the internet, there's email, there's text messaging, there's social media, there's all these forms of communication, but nothing in our business replaces that telephone. To pick up the phone, make a phone call, and actually dial out. I think if more people or more loan officers would use that, their business would thrive a lot more. Um, so,
Agreed.
one of the things we learned from Carl was he introduced this to us back in Nashville back in November, where we basically made an agreement to join be on a call from 9 to 11 every single day, um, and do our calls. So no matter what, there's in the loan officer business, Richard, as you know, things can go south so many ways, and you get caught up in a file, and all of a sudden you're working this file for 4 or 5 hours, or
Right.
just different days. But you got to make your calls every single day. You got to make your calls, because it's not that you're making your calls today. You're also going to see the results of it tomorrow. Your actions today, the results are going to come 90 days from that. So what I'm doing today, I'm going to reap the rewards 90 days from now. So if I don't make my calls today, I'm not going to see the impact of it tomorrow or the next day. It's 90 days from now.
Yep.
So it's just building that. It's building the. Carl says it all the time. We're building castles here. We're not building tents. My foundation for my business is very strong. And if I can give any advice to anybody making those calls, whether it's 10, 25, 50, but every day you do the best you can. And I challenge people, you can always do more. You know what? If there's a certain amount of calls that you need to make on a daily basis to be successful, whatever that is. Everybody has their own numbers. Hold yourself accountable. Make those calls. You know what? You gotta, you know, in our branch, we tune everything out. We're on a personal call star, which is our branch. We don't do the ones with the market animals, but we all hold each other accountable. We turn off all of our emails, we turn off our texts. We sit there and say
Right.
how great. The managers actually post how many calls you're making each hour so that everybody can see. So it's
Nice.
really just seeing it's you against you. That's the way it should always be. You're
Right.
not competing against everybody else. You're competing against yourself. But that's the biggest impact is call stars and picking up that phone. That
So
phone, there's more,
consistently. Yeah.
yeah, there's more money by picking up that phone than any other activity that a loan officer can do.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that think, yeah, we're in a world now where the phone's not as much needed, but it's just not true, man. People
No,
want to hear from you. People want to hear from you.
yeah, yeah, and again, we talk about this, a lot. We're seeing an anomaly in this industry right now where rookie loan officers are having tremendous success following the
Yep.
market animals, and then we have veterans that are not having those successes. And you got to ask yourself, they've never seen this before. Why is that? It's a big topic that market animal talks about on a daily basis. And I think it's pride, really. The more I think about it, because I've seen it in my branch. I'll
Yeah.
be real frank with you. We lost some veterans because they didn't want to assimilate to the new way of doing things. You know what? They don't want to be on call stars. You know what? They don't want to be held accountable to certain numbers. You know what? They don't want to help do this, and they've left us. And can I tell you right now, they're not having the success that our branch is having because we see
Yeah.
their numbers. We still see their stuff. So you gotta want it. You wonder. Everybody has the ability to do this. I mean, I can't emphasize it enough. It's not like it's rocket science. It's not like we gotta go take some classes and learn, uh, you know, chemistry and biology or algebra or whatever.
Exactly.
It's everything we do is very basic stuff. They outline it. Marketing animals outline everything for you basically. That's why you have rookies having tremendous success. You know what? They don't know products. They don't know what goes with what. All they're doing is doing exactly what marketing animal teaches you, and they're thriving. And so you got to ask yourself, why are they thriving and these veterans aren't? Because the reality of this, the veterans aren't doing what marketing animals is teaching us to do.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
they're not.
they're not doing what they did to get where they're at. It's kind of like that saying, back to the basics. Man, you should never stop doing the basics.
It is, but I tell people all the time, if you were in this business from 2020 to 2023, those 2 years spoiled the heck out of you. I mean,
Yeah.
if you were a loan officer, I mean, I was telling people, no, I don't need another loan. I'm good. That was everybody.
Yeah.
We were all too busy patting ourselves on the back, and then all of a sudden the rates drop, and you're like, oh my God, what did it mean I have to make phone calls? I don't want to make phone calls. What do you mean I gotta do that? You know what? I tell people all the time, you do what you gotta do to grow and build your business. I listened to a podcast from Carl the other day where he was saying when he was younger, he worked for a guy that was like a multi-millionaire, owned hotels and stuff like that. And one day he walked in and saw this guy on the floor with a mop bucket and a scrub brush scrubbing the floors. He owned this hotel, but yet he's scrubbing the floors.
Yeah.
That's literally the mentality that you have to have. Where in your business do you need to put your efforts? Where in your business do you need to grow your business? You know what? If it's picking up the phone and making phone calls, that's what it is. You got to find what where you put your efforts. Or I tell people all the time, you could do nothing and leave the industry.
Yep. Which is happening with a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the case. But guess what? people are thriving, Richard. People, there's
Yep.
business is coming, and I think we're also seeing a market that's starting to soften up. I think they just came to an agreement with the debt ceiling this past weekend. I think it's going to today's Wednesday. Supposed to take a vote in the House of Representatives today, and then it goes to the Senate, and it'll be signed. So, rates already started showing some positivity. They're
Yeah.
saying that we're going to see some improvement in rates. Probably by midsummer and towards the end of the year, and even better next year, and so forth. I mean, man, economists are predicting some good years ahead.
Yes.
We're just now coming out of the hardest times. So, I mean, you know, if you could really flourish here in the next several years, following a program like the marketing animals.
Exactly. Good stuff, man. Well, it's awesome talking to you.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it's been great. I appreciate you, David, and I'm glad you spent some time with us today.
Thanks, Richard.
All right. So you brought up, David, the marketing animals, and if anybody wants to talk to them or have a strategy call, they can go to dailysuccessplan.com. And if you're on YouTube, I'd love you to like and subscribe to this. And then if you're on Apple Podcasts, man, give us a 5-star review. I'd love it. Thanks, David.
Thanks, Richard. Appreciate it,
All right.
man.
Talk to you soon, man.
Yep. Later.
All right. Bye-bye.